Hello everybody, I'm Adam with Soundwave Brigade. I'm sitting here with Jason, drummer for Ted Nugent. How's it going?
Fantastic.
So last day of the tour, been on the road for about 6 months, or not 6 months, 6 weeks. And
wish it was 6 months.
Yeah, sometimes people just love to stay on the road. You know, it's what they consider work in life, and especially when you've been doing it for, I guess, the age of 5 since when you started, roughly.
Yep.
Here we are at Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona, and in the tour. How's it been going so far?
It's been great. You know, this is my 3rd year with Ted, and you know, every single tour is just phenomenal. You know, it's a great group of guys, and you know, I always look forward to doing this tour because you know, we've had the same crew and everybody kind of intact for the last 3 years, so it's very much, you know, a family atmosphere. So love it.
Right. So I noticed you had a personal friend of mine, Randy Walker, as your drum tech, kind of throwing at you. How do you like him as a drum tech? I know he's a pretty awesome guy. I know he's done a lot of work for everybody else. So.
Well, it's great because, and, you know, it's funny because when I first got the Nugent gig, you know, I had never worked with a drum tech before. I always did my own stuff, and when I got the gig, I told management, I'm like, just, you know, hire, you know, whoever you think fit, and they hired Randy because he had worked with Mick Brown in the past, Ted, and it just so happened that him and I know so many, you know, same people, and how we didn't know each other before, I don't know why, but having Randy's great because, you know, he kind of, dude's an encyclopedia for music, so that really helps in terms of exposing me to new music, and, you know, and it's great to have him out on the road.
So since if you've always set up your own in the past and whatnot, how do you feel with somebody else doing it for you? Is it kind of like now you're lost if you don't know what to do before a show, or, you know, 'cause I'm kind of the same way with my camera. If I'm at a show and I don't have my camera, I feel naked, so it's kind of...
Well, you know, I'm very detailed in terms of, you know, how I like my drums set up, how I like my drums tuned. So it took a little bit for Randy to know my stuff, but after 3 years, I mean, he knows how I like my drums set up, how they're tuned, so now I don't have an issue. Because honestly, with this gig, it's very different because most of the time I don't even see my drums until I'm walking on stage. So, you know, to make sure that everything's set up correctly and tuned correctly is you know, really important. So, and you know, it's great to have someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I would say it's got to be a lot of pressure on them too to make sure you have somebody that knows what they're doing, and especially with big shows, you know, it's not just a small band playing a small club, you know,
absolutely,
to make sure everything's perfect. So let's see, back up a little bit. So you started about age 5. I'm sure everybody's probably seen it, or if not by now. You were kind of spotted by, was it Ace Frehley or something?
No. So my dad was a professional musician, and you know, he was a drummer and used to play around. So I started really playing drums when I was about 6 months old. I'd go down and bang on the kit, and then about the time I was 3 is when I really started playing the full kit, and then, you know, I started jamming with some of my dad's friends. And then by the time I was 5, that's when I started doing professional gigs. But when my dad was playing, he's a very networking type person. You know, I always joke that if you stick him in front of a tree, he can talk to that tree for 4 hours and never run out of something to talk to. So, you know, when he was playing, his band used to tour with Ace Frehley's band a lot. So he became real close with Ace and Richie Scarlett. And my phone's going off. And when I was born, my dad made Richie Scarlett my godfather. So when I was
started, one way to kind of get a foot in.
Yeah, right. So when I started playing, you know, these cover gigs, I used to cover Nantucket Sleigh Ride by Mountain, which I was a huge Mountain fan when I was little.
Right.
And when Ace rejoined Kiss in the mid-90s, Richie started playing bass for Mountain. So my dad sent video of me playing Nantucket Sleigh Ride to Richie, who would then showed it to Corky Lang, and then kindled that relationship between myself and Corky, and, you know, ended up mentoring me for many years.
Awesome. Were you always drawn to the drums? Did you try to branch out maybe to something else, or did you just kind of?
No, it's just one of those things that just naturally I fell into and always enjoyed doing. And it's funny because there's so many. It's kind of a shame in some aspects because there's so many talented musicians and artists,
right.
And whether you're playing music or you're a gymnastics person or whatever, there's a lot of parents that become very controlling in terms of saying, okay, well, little Johnny, you're going to do this. Okay, well, you've got to practice, go practice, go practice.
Right.
I'm very lucky that my parents never forced me to play music and forced me to practice.
They left it as a choice for you.
Absolutely, and it's funny because I was born in November of '94. My first Christmas next month, my dad got me little hockey sticks, little hockey gloves, little skates, and he wanted me to be a hockey player. And he learned real quick that drums were kind of what I wanted to do. And so very lucky to have very supportive parents, and also my dad, knowing the industry, been in the industry for a long time, really, really helped. And if anything, he forced me to, because naturally I'm not a very talkative person.
Right.
I'm very quiet, and so my dad kind of pushed me to become sociable, make sure that I can talk in social situations and in interviews and things like that. And but other than that, it's kind of funny. The few times that I got in trouble when I was little, my parents would ground me from playing drums.
Take away one of the best things you love. So.
Exactly.
So you're not only you went to Berkeley.
Currently going to Berkeley.
Still going to Berkeley? What made you decide? I know it's an awesome school for music. What made you decide to choose that one over, let's say, another school?
Well, it's when I was about 6, I went to this like week camp music
right.
thing, just to kind of see if there's any young musicians that I could play with. And one of the teachers, I don't know his name, but one of the teachers went to Berkeley, and ever since then I've wanted to go to Berkeley. And I've just always been drawn. It became my dream. And then obviously as I got older, I learned that how many prestigious musicians have came out of that place. And so I always tried to make sure that I wanted to, how can I get my name in that long list of prestigious alumni. And I graduated high school in 2013, and I took about 2.5 years off before I went to college, because at that time I was touring with an artist called Pistol Parade, who had a lot of commercial success at that time and was on the trajectory to go up. So I kind of wanted to hold off a little bit to see how this band go, because there was a lot of money and a lot of heavy investment going on in terms of business wise and financially. So kind of like, well, let's just see what happens. So when the band ended up imploding in 2015, I decided, well, it's time to go start my college degree.
Buckle down.
And I had kind of two choices, and the first choice was to kind of quit my career for 4 to 5 years and move to Boston and work on my degree, or take their online approach. And I'm very lucky I did that, because about 2 months after I started my degree in music business with Berkeley, I got a call to join Ted Nugent. So as I speak, I'm on the road doing my classwork when I'm during the day in my hotel room and whatnot. So that was a good choice, and glad it. Hopefully one day, keep working at it, I can graduate and become part of the alumni.
Great that we have that freedom now with school. They can do a lot online for people like you that can pursue the career that they love and still continue to further their education as well.
Absolutely.
So not just an awesome drummer with the great band, also read that you own your own label group or partners with the label.
I'm a managing partner in it, and it's interesting because me as my degree is music business, being able to be partners in a music conglomerate at the same time is really, really beneficial, because I'm actually I'm able to, when I'm doing my homework for school, I'm able to use my real world situations and that, get feedback from my professors, And and that's the biggest thing about Berkeley is all the professors are industry professionals for many years. They're not just professors. So that helps tremendously. Plus, I'd worked with the label for many years as a musician for a host of a couple bands that they had, and so it got to the point where they were kind of like the label got been defunct for a few years. There's had a lot of large releases, but no one was keeping track of of everything. So they kind of came to me and was like, look, can you kind of look at the royalties, keep track of everything, just administer everything. And then it got to the point where I was kind of like, well, why don't? Because initially it was the state of just kind of do that, and if you have any cool ideas, let's talk about it and see what we can do. And we've ended up branching into, because initially it was Prudential Records was the label, and now since I've taken over and a host of other partners and employees have kind of come on. We've turned into Prudential Music Group, and we've also founded Rouge Records, a vinyl-focused label, and also Prudential Publishing to house the publishing catalog for Prudential Records and Rouge Records. So it's definitely in about 2 years, built up pretty quick. And Rouge Records with vinyl, we've only really the brand's been around for about a year or so.
Right.
And we've already put out 7 releases, and we got 4 pending releases. So it's took off pretty quick.
Growing fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. How do you like working with all the artists? Are you discovering new upcoming artists or artists that were already kind of developed? And
it's kind of a mixture. Prudential Records has become our development side of everything,
right.
And Rouge Records is the vinyl reissue. So we've done a lot of reissues over the last year, and everything from the mid '60s to more current times. So that's kind of interesting because we get to kind of work with a lot of things. And honestly, the reissue market right now is really, really hot. So it's honestly almost like a guarantee with sales if you get the right release.
Right.
So and then with Prudential Records has become the development. We've got a country pop artist that we're developing right now, and so he should be popping pretty soon. So it's kind of a mixture of a lot of different things.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share with everybody or fans? Anything going on?
No, I don't think so.
Cool, man. I appreciate you taking the time out. And,
Awesome.
enjoying the last day of the show, touring the store, and you kick ass.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.